Tony.
Yes, Eric, I'm there. Okay, let me ask Gloria because I was not hearing this other one. Gloria and Dorcas, can you also tell us what we learned?
Changes.
Very good. We learned about changes in the environment. We learned about changes in our environment. That's what we learned. So those are the things that we learned. We learned about changes in the environment. We talked about the meaning of changes. We talked about the meaning of environment. Let me begin with this. What is environment? What is environment? What did we say environment is? Yes. I can see some people's hands up. You see, when you tell me answers, meaning that you were understanding what we are talking about. So let me go and ask. Oh, this one has used the name of the school. Okay, Joshua, can you tell us? Yes, Joshua.
Environment. An environment are things surrounding man.
Very good. An environment is things that surround man. Or environment are things in our surrounding, or environment is our surrounding. So that is very good. Also, we talked about component of environment. Name any two living component of the environment. Please listen to the question. Name any two living component of the environment. Good. I see very many hands up. Let me also see whether there are some answers in the chat. And then I see whether some people have responded in our chat. Name any two living component of the environment. Oh, somebody is saying multi. Okay, Fiona. Yes, Fiona, can you unmute and tell us two living component of the environment? Yes, Fiona. Animals, good. And then another one, I asked you for two.
Plants.
Okay, animals and plants. Very good. I can see responses in the chat. People are talking about animals. People are talking about plants. People are talking about birds. People are talking about insects. So now maybe what we can do, when we talk about animals, maybe we have already generalized everything. When we talk about animals, we can be referred to animals. Birds can be referred to animals. So if we say animals, that means we have answered it all. Then if we talk about plants, then we are meaning trees. We are meaning those plants that you can name them. So you cannot say plants, then again you say trees. So once you mention that component of the environment, living component of the environment, then you say animals, that all. You don't say animals, then you start naming cows and so on and so on. So that is basically about component of the environment. Let me again ask you another simple question. Anyone simple question. Can you give me 3 types of changes in the environment? Give 3 types of changes in the environment. Yes, Ruth and Kunda. Yes, Ruth and Kunda, you can unmute and then.
Weather changes.
Okay, we have weather changes, which we can say atmospheric changes. Good. Another one. You know only one? Okay. Let me ask another person. Ruth has said weather changes. That is good. Yes, those are changes that we have in the environment. We have weather changes like cloudy, sunny, and so on and so on. Those are changes. Okay. Another person who can give us another type of changes that we have. Another person who can give us a comfort. Comfort, can you give us? Comfort, can you give us another change? Yes, Comfort, you can unmute and give us.
Changes.
We have biological changes. Thank you so much, Comfort. We have biological changes. Okay, Daniela, any other? Yes, Daniela? Daniela, you can unmute and give us. Oh, Daniela?
Artificial changes.
Oh, Daniela is saying artificial. Daniela, when we are talking about changes in the environment, types of changes in the environment, let's talk about weather changes, as somebody has said. Let's talk about biological changes, as somebody has said. And also, let's not say artificial. What are these examples of artificial changes? That one, you can talk about man-made changes. You can talk about natural changes, and so on and so on. So we have biological changes, you have mentioned. We have chemical changes, and we also have, apart from chemical changes, we also have physical changes. Very good. Good. And also we looked at biological changes. Let's give some few minutes to talk about briefly about biological changes. We also looked at biological changes. I want to ask you, what are biological changes? I want to see hands up. What are biological changes? I want to see hands up. Yes, Solomon, can you give us? Solomon, what are biological changes? Solomon, can you unmute and tell us what biological changes are? I can see Angulu has said chemical changes, that is good, but now we are asking, what are biological changes? We have already looked at that. Yes, Solomon can talk. Okay, Ngabiri, can you tell us? Good. You can unmute and tell us.
Biological changes. These are changes that take place in our body and affect the growth.
Very good, very good. Biological changes. These are changes that takes place in our body cell and affect the growth. That's what we call biological. By the way, biological changes are also said to be natural because these changes takes place on their own. If you talk about growth, I may not be the factor of growth. I find myself growing big. I find myself growing old. I was a baby boy. Now I'm a big person. So you see, these are also said to be natural biological changes because they take place on their own. That's why they are saying these are changes which take place in living things, or these are changes that take place in our body cell and affect the growth. Good. My last question, and we go to what we are going to learn today. Just give me any two examples of biological changes. Monica Agaba, can you give us? Monica Agaba, you can unmute and give us any two examples of biological changes.
Growth.
Good, we have growth. Do you want to add another one? You can add. Okay, Samuel also has said in the chat that we have growth. Good. Okay, Nachitende has said molting in the chat. Good. Juliet, can you also give us? Let's hear from you. Juliet. Okay, Pretty has said germination. Very good. So those are examples of biological changes that we looked at. Members, this was our lesson last week. Now today we are also very good. So today we are also going to now continue with the types of changes because we had mentioned very many. Thank you. Let's now continue. Thank you. Thank you for your participation. Let us now continue. So I was saying that those are the things that we learned last week. We talked about types of changes. So we are going to look at those types of changes one by one. Now we are going to begin. We are going to begin with chemical changes. So today we are going to learn about, or we're going to talk about chemical changes. That's what we are going to talk about today. So I want you to pay attention so that we can understand chemical changes properly, and then we are able to understand, and then we use it properly. Very good. So we are going to talk about chemical changes. That's what we are going to learn now. This is what we are going to learn now. And I want you to pay attention and listen very attentively without making noise. So once you make noise, Teacher Tony will not be happy. So we have chemical changes. I know some of you already have idea about chemical changes. And maybe somebody wants to explain to us what it means by chemical changes. What do we mean when we talk about chemical changes? Should I say these ones whose hands are up are able to give me what are chemical changes? Do we have someone who wants to give us what chemical changes are? Yes, Apio Alan. Apio Alan, can you give us the meaning of chemical changes? Okay, Apio has not connected to audio. Sorry, you need to check. You have not connected to audio, so you can't talk and you cannot hear us. Okay, Ricky. Yes, Ricky. Caleb, can you unmute and tell us what chemical changes are? What are chemical changes? Yes, Ricky.
Chemical changes are changes which result into the information of a new permanent product.
Okay, you said, you can repeat. Can you repeat what you have said?
These are changes which result into the formation of new permanent products or substances.
Okay, that is good. That is good, because the main point you have there is the formation of new substance. That's the main point you are having there. So when we talk about chemical changes class, in just simple terms, in a very easy definition, meaning, you just say that these are changes in which a new substance is formed from the old one and is irreversible. Please, sorry. I am saying when you are defining what chemical change is, you can just make it brief and simple that these are changes in which a new substance is formed from the old one and is irreversible. So when we talk about irreversible, here we mean it once this change has taken place, it cannot go back. It is not, you cannot reverse it. That's what they are talking about, chemical change or chemical changes. Once it takes place, it cannot be reversed. So that's what it means by chemical change. So I want someone to read for me the meaning of chemical change that I have written. So let me see some hands up. Let me see some hands up. Those ones who have not yet, those ones. Yes, Doreen. Yes, Doreen, you can unmute and read for us. Doreen. Yes, Doreen, are you able to unmute? Okay. Yes, Doreen, you unmute and give us and read for us what I have written. What are chemical changes?
Chemical changes are changes in which a new substance is formed from the old one and is irreversible.
Very good. So that's the meaning of chemical change, chemical changes. These are changes that are irreversible. When I talk about irreversible, I mean it cannot go back to its original state once it has happened. Once this occurrence has happened, once the transformation has taken place, it can't go back. So that's what it means by chemical change. It's almost like biological changes. So for this, new substances form. So what else are we going to look at now? We are going to look at examples of chemical changes. Very good. Now I want somebody to give us orally, then after we shall write these examples and we shall know the meaning of this chemical. Okay. Please let me pick you. Please let me pick you. Please let me pick you. Yes, Angulo. Angulo, can you unmute and tell us one example of chemical change? Yes, please.
Respiration.
What is this word?
Okay, we have respiration. Thank you. Thank you, Angulo. We have respiration. Thank you for that. May God bless you for your contribution. Let's have another person. I don't want to listen to you. I don't want to listen to you when you are talking in chorus answers. I told you that I'm going to pick, and some of you are already writing for me the answers. Very good. Gloria has said fermentation, Nachitende has said rusting, and so on. So let's continue. We have respiration, 1, 2. No, I'm going to display for you all these things. Don't worry. I'm going to display for you all these things. Don't worry. Yes, Chris, can you give us another one apart from rusting and respiration? Chris, can you give us another one? Chris, you can unmute and give us.
Chris.
Burning pepper into ash.
Okay, burning a pepper into ash or burning wood into ash. In other words, burning. Very good. So those are some of the. So those are some of.
Fermentation.
Okay, I think if we have been disciplined children, we may not have to keep on restricting you from participating. If you are not picked, we know that you are supposed to contribute, but once you don't contribute, please don't worry. Rather than giving your chorus answers, it disorganizes the lesson and some of us. So somebody has said burning, and has said burning of wood into ash. When burning takes place, you are ever burning, you are ever cooking at home. Some of us in the village especially, we use firewood. So when you get firewood, then you come and set fire and it starts burning. That firewood does not remain as firewood. It changes into something else. It changes into ash, as somebody has said. So that is an example of a chemical change. And once burning has taken place, it cannot be reversed. It is irreversible. Once the thing has changed, maybe a very big wood or log has changed into charcoal. I don't think whether that charcoal, you will take it back into the what? Into its original state. So that is what it means by chemical change. One of them we have burning. Yes. 2. Before I say 2, we can look at what it means by burning. Burning is a chemical reaction that uses oxygen to give out heat, light, and carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide. That's what it means by burning. It is a chemical reaction. That's why it is an example of chemical changes, because they are saying it is a chemical reaction that uses oxygen to give out light, heat, and carbon dioxide. Remember, in the process of burning, they said that when you want to stop that fire from burning, you are supposed to use what we call the fire extinguisher, meaning that carbon dioxide does not support burning. That's why it is given out, it is given off once burning is taking place. That gas called carbon dioxide is given off, is given out. So that's what it means by burning. So burning releases carbon dioxide, which pollutes the air. When you find, like in industry where those steams is coming out, if you go where the burning is taking place, you see the smoke coming out and it affects you. So that's why they are saying that it releases carbon dioxide, which pollutes the air. So one example of chemical change is burning. Good. Number two, somebody also told us about respiration. These are some of the answers you gave. Some people are still giving, like Pretty is saying rotting. Yes, rotting is one of them. Rusting, we are going to look at all of them. Thank you, Pretty. So we have respiration. Okay. Let me ask some five. Fiona, can you say respiration? Yes, Fiona, are you able to say respiration? You can unmute and read that word respiration. It was given by Angulo, I still remember. Angulo told us that we have respiration, that as an example of chemical change. So what do we mean when we talk about respiration? Respiration, some of us is like, if somebody can say, I'm breathing, respiration, breathing. I used to understand like that. Respiration is the process by which living cells use oxygen, breathe in to break down food materials to release energy. So I want Amos to read for us the meaning of respiration. Amos, you can unmute and read. What is respiration? Amos. Elijah Amos. Okay. Amos, yes.
Is the process by which living cells use oxygen breathed in to break down food materials to release energy.
Yes. So that one is one. Or you can even just say, let's say, respiration is the process by which oxygen burns food in the body to produce energy. If you don't want to say all this long sentence, you can just say respiration is the process by which oxygen burns food in the body to produce energy. Remember this oxygen we are talking about, you breathe in. That's why they are saying it is the process by which living cells use oxygen, breathe in. That means you breathe in oxygen. Now that oxygen is going to break down the food materials. Then there it will release energy. The food now is going to release energy. That is what it means by respiration. So when respiration is taking place, we call it a chemical change. That change is a chemical change. Good. So here is another meaning which I want Angulo. Angulo, can you read for us another meaning of respiration? If I don't want to say all this, I can say is the process by which oxygen burns food in the body to produce energy. Yes, Angulo, you can unmute and read that point also.
Respiration is the process by which oxygen burns food in the body to produce energy.
Good. So, as we said, this is an example of a chemical change. So, once that process is taking place, that process of oxygen burning food in our body, when it is taking place, we call it a chemical change. Chemical change is taking place in our body during the process of respiration. Good. Let's continue giving examples. So here they are telling us that respiration occurs in the body cells of an organism. That's why here in the first meaning they are saying process by which living cells use oxygen. So that means it takes place in our body cells of an organism. So let's continue looking at other examples. So far we have looked at two. We have looked at burning, we have looked at respiration. Now we are coming to the third one, which is fermentation. Good. Even if I'm not hearing you, please, can you say fermentation, all of you? Again, you say fermentation. Okay. So we have fermentation. If you are from a family like me who grew up in the village, this process, I knew it when I was still young, because we always do it when we are making alcohol. We make some local alcohol at home. For example, in our home, we have what they call a reggae. It is just due to this process. We have the kwete, the marwa. Some of these are done due to fermentation. So it is a chemical chain. Fermentation, this is the process by which sugary juice is turned into alcohol by the help of yeast. In fact, if we talk about this chemical chain, we can simply say fermentation here where you mix water and sugar to form what? To form alcohol in the process. So if we are talking about fermentation as an example of a chemical chain, you can see that this is a process by which sugary juice is turned into alcohol by the help of yeast. So in that process, there is what they call yeast. Yeast, you can make it locally from maybe millet. You can make it locally from maybe sorghum. You can make your yeast. When you make your yeast and then you grind it, this is what we used to do in the village. And if you are from the village, you would be knowing, or if they make alcohol in your home, you would be knowing about what we are talking about, fermentation. So the process by which sugary juice is turned into alcohol is what we call fermentation. So somebody is saying that I'm too fast. Yes, let me try to go a little bit slow. So what is fermentation? Now I'm going to ask somebody to read for us that meaning of fermentation. Yes, let me see from down here. There are those ones from down here who don't put up their hands. Okay. I see them. Okay, Sanita. Yes, Sanita, can you read for us? Sanita, you can unmute and read. Sanita, we can wait for you to read for us the meaning of fermentation. Okay. You can unmute. Oh, Sanita is not reading. So let me request another person. Ramla, is it Ramla? Yes. Nabunya Ramla, can you read for us? Are you able to unmute? You can tell me in the chat and we see how we can help you. Yes, Ramla. Okay, so please, when we talk about fermentation, I can repeat for you. You can also read it as well. This is the process by which sugary juice is turned into alcohol by the help of yeast. So basically what you should understand from here is examples of.
Excuse me,
Yes.
teacher, I'm not seeing anything.
You're not seeing anything?
Yes.
But I have displayed it. Let me ask another person whether they are seeing. Yes, Princess, are you able to see?
Yes, no. I see.
Okay. Princess, you are seeing it? Okay, no. Thank you. Okay, let me display. Okay. Okay, yes, I'm bringing it. I'm bringing it. Don't worry. I'm bringing it. Now, are you able to see it now?
Yes.
Okay, good. So can you now read it? Can you read it?
This is the process.
Yes, Princess, can you read? Okay, Elvis, can you read? You are telling me. Elvis, can you unmute and read?
This is the process by which sugar juice is turned into alcohol by the help of yeast.
Okay, so we said that yeast there, how does it help? It helps in speeding up the process of fermentation. Once fermentation is taking place and you put there yeast, it will help to speed up the reaction. So that is one of the examples. Then we also have what we call rusting. This one was also given by you people. Some of you gave us examples of chemical change as rusting, and then some of us gave us, so what do we mean when we talk of rusting? Before I display my answers, what is rusting? You mean these ones whose hands are up, they are going to give me what rusting is. Yes, Edwin. Edwin, can you give me what rusting is? Yes, Edwin, what is rusting? Oh, Edwin is not Samuel. Okay, Samuel JJ, can you give us? You are telling me in the chat. Yes, Samuel, you can have your opportunity. What is rusting? Yes, so, okay. Some of you whose hands are up, they are not able to even put it down. We have Musoke. Yes, Musoke, what is rusting? Do you know anything about rusting? Okay, so class, you can now listen to me. When we talk about rusting, rusting is the chemical reaction. Rusting is the chemical reaction that turns metals into reddish brown color in the presence of oxygen and moisture. When we talk about rusting, is the chemical reaction that turns metals into a reddish brown color in the presence of oxygen and moisture. So that means for rusting to take place, you have ever seen metals. For rusting to take place, it must take place in the presence of oxygen and moisture. Moisture, if I talk about it, this is liquid things like water, an example, if we talk about moisture. So if, for example, you leave your metal to sleep outside, let's take, for example, like pangas, take, for example, like ores. When you come from the garden, you clean your ores, then you forget it outside. You leave it outside to stay there for a night. And in the morning when you wake up to go and pick this ore, you will find that there's some reddish brown color in that what? In that ore, or in that panga, or in that knife. You can even do it, you can do this today. You can try to leave some of your metallic things that you have at home. Any metal, you can leave it outside, to stay outside, because outside there will be presence of oxygen, there will be moisture or water. Then you will find that in the morning when you wake up, you will find that metal has turned, even if not all the parts, you will find that some part has turned from its color to reddish brown. That is what they call rusting. So, and rusting takes place in the presence of oxygen and moisture. So rusting occurs when bare metallic object, when you leave a metallic object outside, when you leave it outside for a night, you will find that rusting has taken place. You will find that some reddish brown. So let me try to see whether I can just have something like, let me see whether I can have something here. Okay. Okay, let me see whether I can have something here. I wanted to display something, whether it is there, whether we can get some rusting, some metals which have some rust. Let me try to check and see whether we can have. Okay, so that's what it means by rusting. Okay, let me try to check. Rusting, where you, my children, want to see you. Rusting, where you, my children, want to see you. Good. I have. Now I'm going to display and you will see it. Thank you. I'm going to display what I mean by rusting. Do you see my screen? Yes, my learners, are you able to see my screen? Jackson, Angulo, Ramla, Doreen, and others. Are you able to see my screen? Yes. Grace, thank you. Grace has said yes. Now, members, look at your screen properly. That is what they call rusting. Now, you can see some of these chains here. They have been left outside. Its color has been turned from its original color to reddish brown color. Are you able to look at these nails? Members, is this the color of nails? Do we have nails that look like this? No. So you can see that these nails have been exposed to moisture and oxygen. That's why rusting has taken place in it like this. So you can imagine that if rusting takes place in your objects like metals, it is going to have some dangers. It is going to have some disadvantages. For example, that nail can become very weak if you are using it. Look at these chains here. Look at these ones. Are you able to see them? So basically, this is what we call rusting. Look at them. Oh, these ones have been punished. Now, I know near your homes there, you have some things like this around where you are staying. You may have something like this. You may have nails which are like this. You may have some rails which are like this. This is basically what we call rusting. So rusting is the chemical reaction. Rusting is the chemical reaction, that turns metals into reddish brown color. Look at these metals. They have been turned into reddish brown colors. Good. For example, if you leave them outside, maybe these metals have been left outside. That's why you can see the color is like that. So that is what it means by rusting. So let's go back and we continue with what we are looking at. I know we shall continue with what we are looking at. So let me take you back. Let me take you back to the next things that we are looking at. Good. Okay. So we have rusting, as we have mentioned. We have fermentation, as we have mentioned. We have Sorry. Let me just take you where we have been. Here. Okay. So members, are you able to see the screen? Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Thank you. So we have talked about rusting and we have given some of the meaning, and they said that once you leave your metal outside, that is basically what it can happen to your metals, like in the examples that we have seen. So other examples of chemical changes, we have decay of matter, like somebody mentioned it in the chat, that we have Rotting. Somebody say rotting. So when we talk about decay of matter, like decay of organic matter, this is rotting. The rotting of organic matter. For example, if an animal dies in the bush there, it is going to rot. So once it rots, that process of rotting is what we are calling chemical change. Then also we have digestion. For me, I didn't explain the meaning of digestion because I learned it in primary 5 first term. That's why I did not explain the meaning. I learned it. I don't know whether you learned. So when you learn, what is rusting? I mean, what is digestion? Yes. If you have ever learned it, please tell me what digestion is.
But this is the process by which food is broken down into soluble particles
that can be absorbed into the body or that can be absorbed by the blood stream. So if you talk about digestion, this is the process, or this is the breaking down of food into soluble particles that can be absorbed by the body. That is what it means by digestion. So let's continue and we see, let us continue and we see, okay, let us continue and we see. So we talked about digestion. Also, there is also another point. Who can read for us those 2 points that I have put? Yes, who can give us the points that I have put? Yes, Precious, can you give us those 2 points remaining? Milk turning to, milk turning what? Yes, Precious, you're allowed to unmute. Precious, can you tell us?
Milk
Turning to shower, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, milk turning shower, and then also we have photosynthesis. Now, I did not explain the meaning of photosynthesis because also I learned it in a certain class, but you can remind me what photosynthesis is. And this is an example of chemical change. This is an example of chemical change that takes place in what? That takes place in plants. So when I talk about photosynthesis, what do I mean? Yes.
This is the process by which plants make their own food.
Okay, the process by which plants make their own food. What name is given to that food?
Starch.
Very good. That is primary 4 class. We learned them in primary 4. Thank you. Let's continue. So basically, these are examples of chemical changes. One, we talked about burning. I'm just trying to take you through. We talked about burning. We talked about rusting. We talked about respiration. We talked about digestion. We talked about photosynthesis and decay of matter, and then milk turning sour. So that is what it is. Those are our examples of chemical changes. So let's continue. Now, I have gone a little bit deep to look at rusting. There are dangers of rusting. When rusting takes place in our metals, there are some dangers. What are these dangers? One, it weakens metals. It makes metal to become very weak. For example, on the one I showed you, like if we talked about nails. You know, nails, we use nails to roof our house. We use nail to make some furniture like tables, desks, and so on. But once they rusted, once that reddish brown is there, it becomes very weak. When you are nailing it, it may not go. You may find it is bending. It is bending. So that is the danger of rusting. That means we should protect our metals from rusting. Good. Number two, it makes metal blunt. It makes metal blunt. Yes. If I talk about blunts, what do I mean that word? What does that word mean? Yes.
Me.
Who can tell us?
Me.
Yes, you can tell us, Abel. Yes,
They are not
blunt.
sharp.
Okay, yes. They blunt simply means that metal, or let's take for example the knife. A knife which is blunt, meaning it is knife which is not sharp. So once rusting takes place in them, they will not be sharp. You will not you will not peel your matoke properly because it will be disturbing you. You will not peel your cassava properly, your sweet potatoes properly, because it will be disturbing you. So these are some of the dangers of rusting. Good. Now, how do I avoid? How can I stop this from rusting, my metals from rusting? Remember, we say they take place in the presence of oxygen and moisture. So how do we avoid this? How do we avoid rusting? One, we can talk about painting of metals. Once you paint the metals, for example, some of your schools, you come from whereby if you have rails in your schools, they are painted. Once they are painted, you will not see those rusting taking place in them. Somebody also mentioned oiling. Very good. Oiling, very good. Oiling metallic tools, that is good. Okay, by oiling, that one was Joanna. Okay, by greasing, that is Joel. Good, Joel. Thank you for all those. Okay, so those are some of the ways we can avoid rusting. Then also we have what we call galvanizing metals, like iron sheets. When I talk about galvanizing here, I mean coating. The layer, they put some layers again. Some people mistake it with the painting. But when we talk about galvanizing metals like iron sheets, for example, some of your homes, you have pre-painted iron sheets, which is maybe red in color. You have some iron sheets, which is blue in color. So those are coated iron sheets. So once those things are done in those iron sheets, we call it galvanizing. So it is not going to rust. That iron sheet will not rust. Very good. So those are some of the ways. Then keeping metallic tools, you clean and keep them in a dry place. That's what we are saying. Keeping metallic tool in a dry place. Don't just say in a clean place. If you go and keep it in a clean place, which has moisture, still rusting will take place. Let me see this person who said by keeping them in a clean place. Oh, you are going very fast, sorry. Okay. Please, I'm correcting someone who said by keeping them in a clean place. Please, you must keep them in a clean, dry place. It must be dry without moisture. So once moisture has not touched your metals, it will not rust. So that's why I'm saying keeping metallic tools in a dry place. You need to take note of that. Don't just say by clean them and put them in a dry place. What if I clean them properly? Then I go and put them in a moisture, a place which has moisture, place which has water, liquid, and then there is presence of oxygen at the same time. Do you think rusting will not take place? Even if it is clean, rusting will take place. So you need to take note of that. Otherwise, thank you so much for that response. Good. So having looked at all these examples of chemical changes, let us finally look at characteristics of chemical changes. What are the characteristics of chemical changes? Maybe this one I will hear from you before I put mine. Jason, can you give us one characteristics? Yes, Jason. You can unmute and give us one characteristics you can even get from the meaning of chemical change. If you have understood the meaning of chemical change properly, you can get one characteristics from there if you have understood it properly. Let me try to pick some people who is saying me. No one, you are going too fast. Somebody saying I'm going too fast. Okay. Yes, Angel and Letisa has said they are irreversible. Thank you. Nachtende, can you give us another one apart from irreversible? Nachtende? Yes, Samuel. Samuel, can you give us? Samuel, can you give us? Okay, Samuel, you can unmute and give us.
They are irreversible.
They are irreversible. Thank you, Samuel. That is one. Let me again ask another person. Please don't give me chorus answers. Otherwise, okay. Arthur, can you try? Apart from irreversible, someone has given us in the chat also. Yes, characteristics of chemical changes. Samuel has said they are irreversible. That is good.
Finally.
Yes, Dorcas. Yes, Dorcas, can you give us?
I cannot see.
A new substance is formed.
Very
Finally.
good. Very good. A new substance is formed. Very good. So one, I have started with what Dorcas has given us. I have started with what Dorcas has given us, that they form new substances. Once they take place, they form new substances. We have looked at burning of wood into ash. We have looked at fermentation, whereby sugary juice turns into alcohol. You look at decay of matter, the rotting of matter. Something dies and it rots. A new substance is formed after rotting has taken place. We looked at, and so many examples there. So they form new substance. Very good. Good. Let me have another one. Somebody had already mentioned this. I'm just putting it there. Samuel had told us that they are irreversible. They are irreversible. This change, when they take place, it cannot go back to its original state. It cannot go back to its old one. For example, if you burn firewood and it becomes ash, I don't know whether that ash can go back to what? To its original state. So that is why we are saying. Then also, Whitney has also given us a very good point. Whitney has said there is change in weight. Whitney, I'm giving you a very big hand clap. I saw your answer from the chat, that there will be change in weight. Very good point, and a big one. Are we together? So here Whitney has said there is change in weight. So for me, I'm going to add what Whitney has said, that there is change in size, weight, and amount of object. Are you getting Whitney? You can talk of size. For example, if you burn wood to ash, the size of that wood will be changed to something else. The weight of that wood will also be changed to something else. It will be reduced. Either sometimes it becomes heavy, or it becomes lighter, or it becomes smaller. Are we together? So that's why Whitney said there is change in weight, size, and height. Very good. Somebody also is mentioning it in the chat. Okay, a new substance is formed. That is good, Monica. We have already given that. Good. Let's look at another point. One, heat or light is sometimes given off or absorbed. You can look at when burning is taking place. Heat is given, light is given. So that is one of the characteristics of chemical change. Then this one that Whitney has said, that there is change in size, weight and amount of an object. I've already explained to you that because Whitney had already given us K. So Arthur is saying, okay, that is fine. So basically, these are the characteristics of chemical chain. And that is where we are going to end. But there is an assignment. There is a question that I want to give you people. You see, these chemical changes, they have advantages and disadvantages. These chemical changes, they have advantages and disadvantages. Like one, since we say chemical change, there is heat, they produce heat. So chemical change like burning produce heat, which is used for cooking. That's one of the advantages of chemical change. Are we together? One of the advantages of chemical change, though I have not given you there, I just wanted you to understand from the point we have been mentioning. Also, chemical change, there is production of energy during respiration. Remember, we said, we explained the meaning of respiration properly. We said that this is the process by which living cells use oxygen, breathe in, to break down food materials to release energy. So one of the advantages of chemical change is that there is production of energy in the body. So because during that process of chemical change, energy is released. So there is production of energy. And also the heat, which is given out, like burning produce heat. That heat, sometimes we use it for cooking and so on. So what are the disadvantages? When you look at disadvantages, it comes to the side of rusting. This one I'm just trying to give you, please. If you can take note of it, it is okay. Disadvantages of chemical change. One, if rusting takes place, it becomes difficult to open or unscrew bolts. In your vehicle, the tire of your vehicle, the tire of your bicycle, it has some screws, or even in any other place which there is screws. Once rusting takes place in them, it is not easy to open. Secondly, when rusting takes place in your key, the key that you use for opening, it becomes big and it may fail to fit in there under your padlock. So those are some of the the disadvantages of rusting that you need to take note of. So also it results into wearing and tear, wearing out of iron materials. So those are some of the disadvantages. Otherwise, these are some of the numbers that I want you to try. These are some of the numbers that I want you to try, and then we can end there. Okay. Okay, any question, please? Any question, please? Okay, let me unmute you and tell me. Okay, you can unmute yourself.
Teacher.
Yes, please. Okay, so because when we allow you to talk, you
Teacher, I can't see your screen.
You can't see my screen.
Let me leave
This
it.
work we are going to send on our WhatsApp group. Okay. Eric, have you taken a screenshot of this? Eric?
Yes, they will get it in the WhatsApp group.
Okay, so we are going to get this work in our WhatsApp group members. So don't worry. Even the notes, you are going to find it in our WhatsApp group. Do not worry. Okay, so I just want question, if there is any question. Otherwise, we can end there. Joshua, yes, Joshua, you can, Joshua can't talk because of the volume is not there. His audio is not working. Victor, yes, Victor, Linda. Victor, Linda, you can unmute and tell me whether you are giving me a question or you are okay. So otherwise, thank you, children. This is where we are going to end. Thank you for being good children. Until we meet again on, who can tell us this class, when are we meeting? If you have the timetable in your head, when are we meeting? For whether another subject, but when I'm going to teach it. Yes, Monica, yes. So please, you should always check on your timetable. We are meeting almost every day, English, SST, mathematics, and science. Thank you so much. Yes, Eric, you can take over.
Thank you, Teacher Tony, for the lesson. Good evening, children, and I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Now, I've sent a link to your chat, and that one is for the Google Classroom. It's what we are going to be using to join the classroom, and then you'll find most of the assignments there once you all register. In that, once you register to the other form that I shared earlier, and then also this link which I've just pasted. Let me just paste it. Let me just send it again. Those who are chatting, you can first wait such that everyone is able to see that link. That is the link to the classroom. And in that classroom, you'll be able to find the assignments. You can do the assignments and hand in. Those of you who are using smartphones, you go to Play Store. I know most of you know Play Store. You go to Play Store and download Google Classroom. Then those who are using computers, laptops, Chatono, you can stop your screen sharing a bit and I show them this.
Okay, okay. It's okay. You can now.
Okay. So those of you who are using, who are using what? Who are using a computer, I think you're able to see my page. If you don't see that page, you go to the Google first page. For example, if I go to google.com, that is the first page of Google. So on this page, you should be seeing these dots here. Can we all see them? Those dots. So you just go and click on those dots. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you click on those and look for Google Classroom. Under all these are Google applications. You click on Classroom. This is Classroom. So if you use the link straight away, it will take you to your classroom, which is P5. If you use the code, then you'll click here on this plus. There's a small plus there. Let me just remove this. There's a small plus here. So you click on that plus and enter the code. For those of you who want to use the code, you click on this plus sign. So after clicking on this plus, it will ask you to join class. Don't go to create, go to join, click on join class, and then you'll be asked to enter the class code. I don't know if I have a class code for P5 here. Let me just check shortly and see. So if you're able to, if you have the class code, then you'll be able to enter that code there. Let me just see if I have a class code. Yes, P5 is here. So I'll just copy this. So you typed the code there. For example, that is the code for P5. After typing, you'll see this blue on your right. I hope you can see that. Then you click on join. Then you'll be able to join the class. So that is what we are going to be using. Otherwise, for those who are using phones, you just go to Android, and when you install the application, you get and use that link, you'll be able to join. This is your P5 classroom. So far, I see only Ethan has joined. Mukama Patrick has also joined. So the teacher will be posting all the work and all the assignments in that page. That is all I wanted to share with you. Otherwise, thank you for the lesson, and we meet in the next lessons. I'm going to give you a chance to unmute.
Thank you.
Unmute and say bye to your colleagues. Tony, I don't know if you have any other thing to.
No, they can just say bye to their colleagues, and then we can stop there.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Bye, and
you.
have a nice weekend, all of you.
Bye.
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 Bye.